Imagine a world where the first empires of mankind rose between sacred rivers and burning deserts, where gods walked alongside kings and war was not just a matter of conquest but a sacred duty. In this ancient setting, Egypt and Mesopotamia waged battles not only with spears and chariots, but with divine symbols, complex hierarchies, and strategies that would echo through the ages. This video dives deep into the roots of organized warfare among the very civilizations that invented writing, law, and statehood. Along the vast delta of the Nile, where fertile soil met blistering sand, the power of ancient Egypt emerged. Rather than taking the safest route to attack, he chooses a risky path between two narrow cliffs, a bold move that catches the enemy off guard. This is where history gets real, and the past comes alive with fury and fire. The clash is ferocious. Egyptian chariots surge forward like a flood, and the victory is so decisive that the name Megiddo would later become synonymous with the end of the world Armageddon. In Mesopotamia, kings like Hammurabi didn't just fight. They codified warfare. His famous code of laws set clear rules on prisoners, treaties, and post-conflict property rights. It was the dawn of the laws of war. In Egypt, texts like the poem of Pentor, which describes the Battle of Kadesh between Ramses II and the Hittites, blend fact with divine propaganda, portraying the pharaoh as a heroic god-king battling hundreds, a narrative crafted to inspire and deify. Here on Vertex of Time, we bring the past back to life with grit, grandeur, and storytelling that hits deep. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. We've got battles, betrayals, empires, and epic stories, all told with passion and precision. Like, share, and tell us your favorite part in the comments. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamia, the Hittites rise with a new military doctrine, incorporating iron weapons and restructuring their battle lines to confront Babylonian and Assyrian forces. The seeds of total war were already present. In Egypt, although wars were mostly fought on the borders, conscription, tribute payments, and supply lines stretched across society. The late Bronze Age wars, including the invasions of the Sea Peoples, shook the very foundations of these ancient empires. They gave us more than spears and chariots. They left us doctrines of discipline, centralized command, the use of propaganda as a weapon, and the belief that war shapes civilization. Egypt and Mesopotamia proved that empires aren't built with stone alone, they're built with blades, sweat, and sacrifice. They understood that to lead was to fight, and that all glory comes at a cost. Their battlefields still whisper lessons to those who dare to listen. In Egypt, Ramses III fought one of history's earliest recorded naval battles, repelling invaders with innovative tactics like boat-mounted archers and coastal ambushes. Although victorious, the empire was permanently weakened. In Mesopotamia, the fall of the Hittites and Babylonians cleared the way for new powers like the Persians and Medes. War never stopped, only transformed. Peace was a luxury maintained only through constant shows of force. Warfare had become science, technology, and doctrine. Around 3000 BC, Narmer, the legendary unifier of the two lands, began a military tradition that would give rise to warrior pharaohs like Ramses II and Thutmose III. In Egypt, archers with composite bows, spearmen, hardened leather shields, and bronze axes formed the army's backbone. The Assyrians, heirs of Babylonian and Sumerian legacies, took terror to new heights. With permanent armies, they used brutal siege tactics, battering rams, mobile towers, and psychological warfare to crush their enemies' will. When they stormed a city, they impaled rebellious leaders and deported entire populations, primitive but effective form of population control through fear. This was more than warfare, it was social engineering. The Egyptians, by contrast, saw themselves as a divine nation. Wars were conducted with religious ceremonies, sacred standards, and musicians playing amid the carnage. They didn't just want to win, they wanted to display the spiritual superiority of Egypt. Around 2300 BC, Sargon the Great of Akkad changed everything by uniting vast Mesopotamian regions under a single command. After defeating the Hyksos, the Egyptians perfected this weapon, making it central to their military campaigns. Each chariot carried two warriors, one steering, the other unleashing deadly arrows. These were ancient strike units, fast, lethal, and nearly unstoppable on flat terrain. Mesopotamians, particularly the Hittites and Assyrians, crated their chariots with metal reinforcements and used them in dense formations to break through enemy lines. His standing army patrolled trade routes, conquered city-states, and extended Akkadian influence across the Fertile Crescent like a shadow. Military power became a tool of empire. Similar evolution unfolded in Egypt during the New Kingdom. Pharaohs like Thutmose III launched campaigns into Canaan and Nubia, executing them with tactical brilliance and logistical finesse. His armies crossed deserts, deployed mobile garrisons, and mastered siegecraft. Egyptians valued discipline and formation. The pharaoh was more than a commander. He was a living god, and his commands carried spiritual weight. Egyptian warfare was choreographed, ceremonial, and symbolic. The Mesopotamians, on the other hand, wore copper helmets, rode chariots pulled by onagers, and wielded sharply tipped spears. They pioneered something new: military bureaucracy. Mesopotamian armies were functionally organized, kept logistical records, and even paid soldiers a prototype of the professional army. Meanwhile, between the Tigris and Euphrates, city-states like Uruk, Lagash, and Kish fought fiercely over territory, prestige, and the control of life-giving irrigation canals. Mesopotamia was the birthplace of organized war, where every city was a fortress and every king a warlord. Soldiers didn't just fight for wealth, they fought for divine favor and their lineage's survival. War was religion, it was politics, it was identity. Their weaponry might seem primitive at first glance, but their technologies reflected a chilling level of efficiency for their time. As time passed, these armies grew increasingly complex. Now, picture this: the battlefield of Megiddo in 1458 BC, where Thutmose III encircles a coalition of rebellious kings. If you're enjoying this journey through time, this raw, immersive dive into the birth of organized war, hit that subscribe button to join us here on Vertex of Time. Mesopotamian warfare evolved with terrifying precision. On the battlefield, chariots changed everything. Brought into Egypt by the Hyksos around 1600 BC, chariots revolutionized speed and mobility. Despite their differences, Egypt and Mesopotamia shared a central idea: war as a cosmic necessity. Warfare deeply impacted civilians. In Mesopotamia, constant warfare between city-states forced farmers to abandon fields, irrigation systems were sabotaged, and sieges starved entire populations. By the 13th century BC, both civilizations faced collapse. The military legacies of these civilizations still resonate. If you made it this far, congratulations, you've just witnessed the birth of war as we know it, because to master the past is to command the future.